The night was quiet in the small town, too quiet for comfort. The wind moved slowly across the empty streets, carrying with it a strange smell, a smell like burning metal and wet earth. The people of the town were inside their homes, resting, talking, or preparing for bed. None of them knew that something was about to change their lives forever. Far outside the town, in the wide fields where farmers worked during the day, the ground shook. A sound like thunder rolled through the sky. But the sky was clear, no storm was coming. The animals in the barn screamed and kicked as if they felt danger before humans did. Then in a flash of cold blue light, the ship appeared. It was not like the ships from human imagination. It was not silver, not round, not smooth. It looked broken, scarred, and heavy. Its body was black and shining with strange symbols. Its size was like 3 houses put together. And when it touched the ground, the earth cried out, smoke rose from its base, and the grass under it turned black. The town woke, people came out, children pointed, and old men shook their heads. Some prayed, some whispered, nobody dared to get closer. But everybody wanted to see. The air grew cold, colder than it should be for that season, and shadows stretched longer than normal. The ship made no sound now, it simply waited, standing in the field like a giant beast sleeping. Then, after minutes that felt like hours, a door opened, light spilled out, white and pure, and from that door stepped out the first figure. It was small, no taller than a young child. Its skin was pale and shining as if made of glass, its eyes were large, black and endless. It looked weak, hungry, almost dying. Behind it came more. One by one they walked out, each childlike, each with glowing skin. They did not speak, they did not cry. They only looked at the humans with empty, endless eyes. The people of the town stepped back, fear filling their hearts. What were these creatures? Where were the adults? Why only children? Then the ship's door closed, and the white light died. Silence fell again, but not the same silence as before. This silence was heavy, full of meaning. And then the voice came. It was not spoken by mouth. It was not heard with ears. It was inside every head, strong and sharp. The words were clear. Feed our children, human, and we will give you a gift when night falls. The crowd screamed. Some fell to their knees, some ran back to their homes. But the farmer named Jacob did not run. He was old, strong, and stubborn. He had lived all his life with the earth and the animals. He had seen storms, fires, and wars, but never this. He held his lantern higher and looked at the strange children standing near his barn. They did not move, they did not attack, they only watched him. Their eyes glowed softly in the darkness. He felt a strange pull inside, a feeling that these creatures were not here for war. They were here for something else, something older, something dangerous. The people shouted from behind him, "Stay back, Jacob! It's a trap!" But Jacob did not step back. His lantern light fell on the nearest child, and he saw its thin arms shaking, its lips dry, its glow weak. It looked like a starving child, not a monster. Jacob whispered under his breath, "What do you want from us?" Again the voice came, filling his head. "Feed our children, human. Feed them, and you will understand when night falls." The words cut deep, but they were not angry. They were not cruel. They sounded like a warning, or maybe a promise. The town was now in panic. Some wanted to bring food, bread, milk, anything. Some shouted it was madness, that feeding them would mean slavery. Others said to kill them before they grew stronger. Families locked their doors. Mothers held their children. Men picked up old rifles. The town split in fear and confusion, but Jacob stood still. He looked at the sky, at the stars above, and then at the glowing eyes staring back at him. He felt his heart beating hard. And he thought, if they are only children, who will feed them if we do not? The night grew colder. Shadows stretched longer. The children did not leave. They waited, silent, patient. Like the night itself was their ally. And then Jacob saw something that froze his blood. One of the alien children stepped closer to his barn, and behind it more followed. They stopped in front of the wooden doors, and for a moment Jacob thought they would break inside. But instead they sat down quietly, curling against the barn like tired children waiting for warmth. Their glowing eyes did not blink. They only watched. The people of the town gasped. Nobody understood, nobody moved. The silence grew deeper. Jacob whispered again, "What gift will you give us when night falls?" But this time there was no voice, no answer, only the cold stare of the alien children waiting. And in that silence, Jacob knew the night had only just begun. The town did not sleep that night. Fear moved through every street like cold wind. The alien children stayed near Jacob's barn. Glowing softly in the dark, they made no sound. No movement, only waiting. Like statues of glass and shadow by morning, the people gathered in the square. Their voices clashed, some angry, some afraid, some whispering prayers. Old men argued that no deal should be made, that humans should never bow to outsiders. Mothers cried that the children looked hungry, that no mother could watch such eyes and stay cold. Jacob stood apart, his lantern still in his hand, his face heavy with thought. Finally, the town's leader, Mayor Ellen, spoke. Her voice was firm but tired. We cannot fight what we do not understand. We cannot ignore them either. We will give food once, and see what happens. If this is a trap, we will know soon. So they gathered what they could: baskets of bread, milk from the cows, meat from the smokehouse, and some fruit from the last harvest. The people carried the food together, but fear clung to them with every step. Children peeked from windows holding their mother's arms, whispering questions no one could answer. When they reached Jacob's barn, the alien children were still waiting. Their black eyes reflected the morning sun, but they did not move. Not until the baskets were placed on the ground. Then, one by one, they stood. Their thin arms shook, their legs wobbled, but their glow grew brighter as they stepped forward. The first child reached into a basket and picked up a piece of bread. It held it in both hands like treasure. The others followed, taking small pieces. Drinking milk slowly, they ate in silence, no chewing sound, no breath. Only light rising from their bodies as if the food became fire inside them. The crowd gasped. Some backed away. Some dropped to their knees. Jacob did not move. He watched closely, and in that moment he saw something strange. The children were not eating like humans do. The food melted in their mouths, turning into sparks of blue light. The light traveled down their skin, spreading like veins of fire until their whole bodies glowed brighter. For a moment they looked alive, almost joyful. Their black eyes softened. Their thin frames stood straighter. One child even looked at Jacob and tilted its head as if trying to smile. But no word came from its mouth, only silence. Then, as quickly as it began, the feeding ended. The baskets were empty. The children returned to the barn wall and sat again, still glowing faintly, waiting, always waiting. The people looked to one another in fear. What now? Someone whispered. The mayor turned to Jacob. You saw them first. What do you think? Jacob did not answer. His eyes were locked on the children. Something inside him told him this was only the beginning, not the end. That night the town was restless again. No one slept easy. The fields were too quiet. The stars seemed too sharp, too near. People locked their doors, but still they peeked outside, waiting for something, anything. And when night truly fell, the gift appeared. It began with a sound, a low hum that shook the ground. Jacob was the first to hear it. Standing near his barn, he raised his lantern, and there in the center of his field stood something new. A box, black and shining. As tall as his chest, it had no seam, no handle, no opening, but strange symbols glowed across its surface, the same as those carved into the alien ship. The townspeople came running, their faces pale in the lantern light. The mayor stood beside Jacob. What is it? She asked, but Jacob only shook his head. The alien children rose from their place and walked slowly to the box. They circled it, their glow stronger now, and then all at once they stopped. Their eyes turned to the humans, and in every head the same voice spoke. This is our gift. Look inside, learn, prepare. The box shifted. Symbols moved and a crack appeared. From inside came a light, not white, not blue, but deep red. It pulsed like a beating heart. The people stepped back, fear thick in the air, but Jacob stepped closer. His lantern shook in his hand inside the box. He saw visions. They came fast, too fast, but clear. He saw oceans rise and swallow cities. He saw fire raining from the sky. He saw humans fighting humans. And in every battle he saw death. He gasped, falling to his knees. The people shouted, "What did you see?" "What is it?" Jacob looked at them with hollow eyes. "The future," he whispered. "They showed me our future," the alien voice returned. Strong and sharp. "Feed our children again, and we will show you how to stop it." The crowd broke into chaos. Some screamed it was lies. Others begged to keep feeding them. The mayor shouted for order, but no one listened. The town was tearing itself apart with fear and hope. Jacob looked back at the alien children. Their glow was softer again, weaker, like the food was fading inside them. They stared at him with black, endless eyes waiting, always waiting. And for the first time, Jacob felt something worse than fear. He felt the weight of choice. If they fed the children again, what else would come if they refused? What darkness would fall when night came again? And as he stood in the cold light of the box, Jacob knew the town would never be the same. The box stood in the field like a dark heart, glowing with its strange red pulse. The people of the town did not dare touch it, yet their eyes could not look away. It was as if the box was alive, breathing slowly, waiting for them to make the next move. Jacob sat on the cold ground, his lantern forgotten beside him. His face was pale, his eyes wide. The visions he had seen burned inside his mind. He could still hear the screams of people drowning, the roar of fire falling from the skies, the endless sound of war. It felt too real, too close. The alien children remained silent near the barn, their glow weak but steady. Their black eyes watched Jacob as if they knew he carried the weight of what he had seen. The townspeople pressed closer, whispering, arguing, fighting with fear in their voices. "What did you see, Jacob?" A woman cried, tell us everything." Jacob's voice trembled. But it was clear. "I saw our end, I saw the world break apart. I saw humans destroy themselves." His words made the crowd shiver. Some covered their mouths. Others shook their heads in denial. The mayor stepped forward, her voice stronger than her shaking hands. "And the children? What do they promise?" Jacob looked at the glowing figures. "They said, if we feed them again, they will show us how to stop it." The words spread through the crowd like fire. Some gasped with hope. Others shouted in anger. "Lies!" One man screamed. "They trick us, they show us nightmares so we obey." Another man shouted back, "And what if it is true? What if they can save us?" The square of the town filled with chaos. But the children did not move. They waited like statues. Patient as the night, Jacob stood slowly. He felt the red glow of the box on his skin. He could almost hear it whisper, though no words came. His hands shook as he reached closer. But before he could touch the surface, one of the alien children stepped forward. Its glow flickered, its thin arms lifted, and the voice entered every human mind again. "Do not touch human, not yet. Feed us first. Then the gift will open fully." The people gasped. Some fell back in fear. The mayor shouted, "What are you? Why only children? Where are your elders?" For a long moment there was only silence. The alien child's black eyes never blinked, and then slowly the voice returned. "We are the young of our kind, the old ones sleep waiting. We cannot survive without you, but we can help you, if you help us." The words felt like chains and hope at the same time. The townspeople argued louder now. Some said the choice was simple. Give them food. Learn the secret, survive the future. Others shouted that this was slavery, that they would feed monsters until the monsters grew strong enough to crush them. In the middle of the shouting, Jacob turned. His lantern light caught something strange. On the ground near the barn door lay a shape. He stepped closer and froze. It was not a human child, but the husk of one of the alien children, empty skin like cracked glass, its glow gone, its body hollow. The sight silenced Jacob's breath. The others soon noticed and came running. Gasps filled the air. What happened to it? Someone whispered, "Did it die?" Jacob's heart pounded. He looked at the other alien children. They sat quietly, but their glow was faint. Weaker than before, one of them raised its head, its eyes meeting his, and the voice came again, softer this time. "If we are not fed, we change. Night will take us. Night will not protect you." The words made the crowd tremble. The meaning was clear. Hungry alien children did not simply die. They became something else, something darker. The mayor's face turned pale. She whispered, "If they change, what will they become?" No answer came, only silence. Heavy and cruel, Jacob knelt near the husk. His rough hands touched the empty skin. It crumbled like ash under his fingers. He looked at the crowd and spoke. "We have no choice if we do nothing. The night will turn against us," but even as he said the words, doubt burned in his chest. What if feeding them was worse than starving them? What if the gift was a chain? The red box pulsed again, stronger now. The symbols across its body shifted like living lines, and then a vision spilled out for all to see. It was not only Jacob this time, but every man, woman, and child watching. The box showed the town itself, but not as it was. The houses burned. The streets cracked. The people lay lifeless, and above them the glowing eyes of shadow creatures stared, creatures that looked like the alien children. but twisted, sharper, with teeth and claws. The vision ended as quickly as it came. The people screamed. Mothers pulled their children close. Men held each other in shock. The voice came again, cold and final. Feed us. And the night will protect you. Refuse us. And the night will consume you. The words sank deep. The crowd broke into fear and chaos once more. Some ran home to gather food. Others armed themselves. The mayor shouted until her voice broke. But no one listened. The town was splitting apart. And Jacob stood at the center, his eyes fixed on the alien children. He thought of their weak frames, their glowing eyes, their endless silence. He thought of the husk that turned to ash in his hands. And he thought of the promise, the gift they offered when night fell. But deep inside, Jacob wondered, was it truly a gift? Or was it a curse waiting to be claimed? The night after the vision was heavy with fear. No one in the town could sleep. Every door was locked, every lamp burned late. But the people still felt the cold eyes of the alien children watching from Jacob's barn. By morning, the air was filled with arguments. The people gathered again in the square, their faces pale, their voices sharp. Some shouted to bring more food. Some cried that it was madness, that humans were being fooled by glowing strangers. Mayor Ellen stood in the middle, trying to keep order. Her voice shook, but she tried to sound strong. We are divided. We must choose together, feed them or refuse them. But no one listened long. Fear was stronger than reason. Jacob sat near the edge of the crowd, his lantern beside him as always. He said little, his eyes were tired, his thoughts heavy. He had seen the husk of one alien child crumble into ash. He knew the warning was real. If we are not fed. We change, the children had said. But what did they mean by change that afternoon? Strange things began to happen. The cows in the barns refused to eat. They kicked and screamed until farmers ran from them. Chickens broke their own wings in panic. Dogs hid under porches and would not come out. The air itself felt wrong, as if the day was dying too soon. Shadows stretched far across the ground even though the sun still shone. And at the barn, the alien children sat in silence, their glow weaker than before, their skin turning pale like broken glass. Their black eyes followed every human that passed. But they made no sound, no move, only waiting. Some people began whispering that the children were already changing, that soon they would turn into the monsters shown in the visions. Fear grew faster than fire. By nightfall, a group of men carried rifles to Jacob's farm. Their leader, Thomas, was a loud man with angry eyes. He shouted, "We end this now! Before they become hunters, before they kill us all!" Jacob stepped in their way. His lantern shook in his hand, but his voice was steady. "You don't know what will happen if you kill them." The visions were clear. "Night will not protect us," Thomas raised his rifle. "And you trust monsters? You trust things that speak inside your head? They starve so we feed them. They glow so we believe them, and next they eat us whole." The men cheered behind him, lifting their guns. The town stood frozen, mothers crying, fathers holding children close, but before Thomas could fire, a sound split the air. It was a scream. Not human, not animal, sharp and endless. The people turned and saw one of the alien children standing. Its glow had vanished, its body cracked like glass, and from its mouth poured a sound that cut into bone. The others scrambled back, but it was too late. The child's body broke apart, and from inside rose something new. It was taller, darker, its skin black like stone. Its eyes burned red instead of black. Its mouth stretched into sharp teeth. The air grew colder as it stepped forward. The crowd screamed, rifles fired, bullets tore into the creature, but instead of falling, it moved faster. Shadows wrapped around its body. It leapt onto one of the men and ripped him apart with claws made of pure shadow. The people scattered in terror. Some ran toward their homes, some dropped to the ground. The barn shook as the other alien children screamed, not with mouths, but with voices inside every human head. "Feed us, feed us, feed us." Jacob held his lantern high, his heart pounding. He shouted, "Stop! Stop shooting!" But the men did not listen. More bullets filled the night. The creature roared, striking down another man, and then as quickly as it had risen, it stopped. It turned its red eyes toward Jacob. Blood dripped from its claws. It opened its mouth, but instead of words, a whisper filled Jacob's mind. "Too late, human. Night has taken me." The creature fell to its knees. Its body cracked again, and this time it turned to ash. The wind carried it away, leaving only silence. The town was broken, 2 men dead, the rest trembling with fear. The alien children sat against the barn wall, glowing faint again, their voices echoed together. Feed us or more will change. Feed us or the night will not protect you. Thomas dropped his rifle, his hands shaking, his eyes burned with anger and terror. You see? You see what they are? They are death waiting to happen. But Jacob's voice was low, almost sorrowful. No, Thomas, that was hunger. That was what happens when they starve. We must feed them, or the night will fill with those things. The people argued until their voices cracked. Some wanted to bring food, some wanted to burn the barn with all the children inside. The mayor's voice could not calm them. The town was splitting apart faster than before, and in the quiet between shouts, Jacob looked at the alien children again. Their glow flickered weakly, their black eyes wide and empty. They looked fragile, almost human, but he knew what they could become. The gift of the box pulsed red in the field, reminding them all of the promise. Salvation or destruction, safety or death, all resting on one terrible choice. And as the stars rose higher, Jacob whispered to himself, "It is not only food they want, it is trust, it is power. And we are giving it to them piece by piece." The night grew colder, the wind sharper, the barn creaked in the darkness, and though the creature was gone, its scream still echoed in every human heart. The town was quiet after the attack, but it was not the peace of safety. It was the silence of fear, of people too scared to breathe too loud. 2 men had been killed by the changed alien child, and their blood still stained the earth near Jacob's barn. The alien children remained, their glow faint but steady. They did not move, they did not speak aloud, but their voices echoed inside the minds of everyone. Feed us, or night will take more." Some people obeyed. Bringing bread, milk, and fruit to the barn, they left the baskets and ran, never waiting to see the children eat. Others refused, locking their doors and swearing they would never give another crumb. The town had split into 2, and suspicion grew like a fire in dry grass. By the 3rd night, something changed. The sky turned darker than before, not just night but heavy with shadows. The moon hid behind thick clouds, the stars vanished, and from the forest came sounds that froze every human heart. Growls, whispers, and footsteps too heavy to belong to children. Jacob stood at his window, lantern in hand. His farm was silent, but the woods beyond were alive. He saw shapes moving between the trees. Tall and thin, with glowing red eyes, they were not the same as the alien children. These were the changed ones. The ones who had starved, he whispered to himself. The night has taken them. At the edge of town, Thomas led men with rifles again, their faces pale, their hands shaking, but pride and anger still burned in them. "We won't bow to monsters," he said. "Better to fight now than be hunted forever." But the fight came faster than he expected. From the shadows leapt the first creature. Its claws tore into a man before he could fire. The others screamed and shot wildly. Bullets tore through the night, but the creatures were too fast, moving like shadows, climbing walls, crawling across rooftops. Their red eyes glowed like fire. The town screamed awake. Mothers pulled children under beds. Fathers barred doors with furniture. Lamps shattered, horses screamed, and the creatures roamed the streets like wolves set loose. Jacob rushed from his home with his lantern. His heart thundered as he saw a creature crouched near the well. Its mouth stretched wide as if tasting the air. Its body twisted, black skin shining like wet stone. He lifted his lantern high, and for a moment the creature stopped. Staring at the light, its red eyes flickered. But then it hissed and vanished into the dark. At the barn, the alien children glowed faintly. Their voices filled Jacob's head. Feed us now, or the night will never end," he shouted at them. "Why do they hunt us? Why do they kill?" The answer came cold. They were our kind, they were not fed. Now they belong to the night, they are hunger without end. Jacob's chest grew heavy. He looked back at the town, the screams, the fire, the chaos, and he understood if they did not feed these children, more creatures would rise. But another thought struck him. Sharp and cruel, if feeding kept them alive, then every basket of food gave the children more power. How long before they grew strong enough to rule over humans? Behind him, Thomas staggered into the field, his rifle broken, blood running down his face. His eyes burned with rage. "You see what they are? This is their gift, death. They promised protection, but they gave us monsters." Jacob shook his head. "No, Thomas. We gave them monsters by refusing. We starved them. We forced them into the night." Thomas laughed bitterly. "And you think feeding them will save us? You think glowing devils will keep their promise?" He spat blood on the ground. "You are a fool, Jacob. A fool leading us into chains." Before Jacob could answer, a scream tore through the air. Both men turned. A creature was dragging a child across the dirt. The child kicked and cried, but the creature's claws wrapped tight. Jacob ran, his lantern swinging. He lifted the flame close to the creature's face. For a moment it hissed, stepping back, and the child broke free, running to safety. The creature snarled and lunged again, but then stopped, its red eyes fixed on Jacob. And in his head came a whisper, not like the alien children, but darker, colder. "You cannot save them all, human. The night belongs to us now." The creature leapt back into the shadows and was gone. Jacob dropped to his knees, sweat dripping, his hands shook. His heart pounded. He looked back at the barn, at the waiting alien children, and he realized the truth. This was not a war of humans against aliens, it was a war of hunger against survival. And the town was trapped between the two. The night stretched longer, as if dawn would never come. The creatures still roamed, their red eyes glowing from every corner. Every shadow seemed alive. Every whisper in the wind felt like claws reaching for flesh. The alien children pressed closer to the barn doors, their glow flickering like dying embers. Their voices filled Jacob's mind again, softer this time, almost pleading. "Feed us, Jacob, or you will lose everything. Feed us, and the night will end." But Jacob's hands shook as he whispered back, "And if we feed you forever, will the night ever truly end?" The barn creaked in the cold. The forest groaned with hidden voices. The town screamed under attack, and Jacob knew the real gift had not yet been revealed. The worst was still waiting. The night of the attack left the town broken. Houses were shattered, blood stained the streets, and silence hung heavy once the creatures faded back into the forest. No one knew if they were gone or simply waiting in the shadows. The only thing that kept the people from fleeing was fear of the greater unknown beyond their borders. The alien children still sat by Jacob's barn. Their glow was faint, but their eyes were clear. They had not moved during the chaos, as if the screaming and bloodshed meant nothing to them. But when dawn touched the horizon, their voices filled every human mind again, calm and sharp. "Feed us, and we will make the night obey." The people gathered in the square. They looked worn, their faces pale, their hands trembling. Some whispered that they should burn the barn and end it all. Others begged to bring food quickly before more creatures rose. The town was splitting apart faster than ever. Mayor Ellen stood before them, her voice cracked but steady. "We cannot fight shadows, we cannot survive alone. If feeding them keeps the night away, we must do it." But Thomas shouted back, his face twisted with rage. "No! Every loaf we give makes them stronger. Every drop of milk is power for them. They are not children. They are leeches. They will rule us, and we will kneel like slaves." The crowd roared with argument, but Jacob stepped forward. His lantern burned low, but his voice was clear. "Enough, we cannot live in fear of both choices. We must ask them directly, we must know what they want, not only what they show." The people fell silent, and Jacob walked toward the barn. The alien children lifted their heads, their faint glow brightening at his steps. He stopped a few feet away and whispered, "What are you truly? Why do you need our food? What is the gift you promise us?" For the first time the children rose together. Their small bodies stood tall, their eyes locked on Jacob, and then the voice came, not in panic, not in hunger, but in strength. "We are not only children, we are seed, we are the beginning of something new." The crowd gasped. Jacob clenched his lantern tighter, his heart hammered. "What do you mean? What happens if we keep feeding you?" The answer was slow, heavy. "If you feed us, you will not die as the others will. You will join us, you will change. You will be protected when the world burns." A silence fell so sharp it hurt. Mothers clutched their children tighter. Men looked at each other with fear in their eyes. Jacob's voice broke the silence. "Join you? Change into what?" The alien children's glow brightened, their black eyes reflecting the dawn. "Into us," they whispered. "Part of us, human blood made stronger, human flesh made brighter. You will walk through night without fear. You will be the future. But only if you choose to feed us." The words cut deep. The crowd exploded again. Some shouted with hope, others with horror. The meaning was clear. Feeding the children was not only survival, it was transformation. Thomas screamed above them all, "There it is! The truth. They want to take us, to twist us into their kind. This is not protection, this is infection." He lifted his rifle, aiming at the children, but Jacob grabbed the barrel and forced it down. "Stop, Thomas, we don't understand everything yet." Thomas's eyes burned. "I understand enough. They are liars, and you are blind." The alien children moved closer to Jacob, their glow warming like fire in the cold morning. One of them lifted its hand, small and thin, but steady. Jacob felt something brush his mind, not words, but an image. He saw himself standing taller, stronger. His lantern glowing like a star. He saw his people safe. The creatures of the night bowing away from him. He saw a future where humans were not prey, but hunters of shadows. The vision ended. Jacob gasped, sweat on his brow. He staggered back, but could not shake the feeling. It had not felt like a lie. It had felt like a promise. The children spoke again. "Feed us once more, and one of you will see the truth with your own body. One of you will walk in night and not fall." The crowd froze. Their fear deeper now. This was the bargain. Food in exchange for transformation. Thomas spat on the ground. And who will be the first sacrifice? Who will give themselves to these demons? But before Jacob could answer, a small voice cried out. Everyone turned, and gasps filled the air. It was Jacob's own son, Samuel, standing by the barn door. His eyes wide, his face pale, but his voice steady. "I will." Jacob's heart stopped. "No. Samuel, no!" He rushed forward, pulling the boy close. But Samuel looked at him with strange calm. "Father, they already touched me. I feel them in my dreams. I see the night, I see the fire. If I join them, maybe we will all be safe." The alien children's glow rose higher, stronger, their black eyes fixed on Samuel. The voice filled every mind again. "He is chosen, feed us, and he will return to you as gift. He will be the bridge between us and you." The crowd fell into silence, shock and fear heavy as stone. Jacob clutched his son, his voice breaking. "No, I won't let them take you." But Samuel only whispered, "Maybe it's the only way." And as the sun rose weakly over the broken town, the bargain stood before them all. Feed the children and let a human change forever, or refuse. And watch the night creatures grow stronger with every passing hour. The sun fell weakly over the broken town. Its light did not bring warmth, only the fear of what night would bring. The people gathered in silence, their faces pale, their hearts torn between hope and terror. The alien children sat by Jacob's barn, glowing faintly, their black eyes locked on the boy who had stepped forward. Samuel, Jacob's son. The voices filled every mind again, soft but sharp. "Feed us, and he will rise as gift. Feed us, and the night will end." Jacob held Samuel close. His hands shook, his voice cracked. "I won't let them take you, son. I won't lose you to them." But Samuel's face was calm. His young eyes seemed older, touched by something beyond human. "Father," he whispered, "maybe this is not losing. Maybe this is saving us all." The crowd stood frozen, divided once more. Some whispered prayers. Others demanded fire and rifles. Thomas shouted loudest of all, his voice raw with fury. "Do you not see? This is how they take us, one by one until none of us remain. We should burn them, burn the barn, burn the gift they promise." But even as he shouted, the sky grew darker. Clouds rolled over the moon. Shadows stretched like claws across the streets. And from the forest came the sound everyone feared. The growls of the night creatures. Dozens this time, maybe more. Their red eyes burned through the trees. Their claws scraped the dirt. Their whispers filled the air. The people screamed, running to their homes, locking doors, but no door, no lock could keep shadows away. The alien children rose slowly. Their glow brightened. Their black eyes fixed on Samuel. Their voices came again. "Feed us now, or all will fall. The night is here." Jacob looked at his son. His heart tore apart. He could not let him go, but he could not let the town die. Samuel placed his small hand over Jacob's. "Father, you always said the earth gives only if we feed it first. Maybe this is the same." Before Jacob could answer, the first creature burst from the forest. Its claws ripped into the ground. Its red eyes glared at the town. More followed, climbing rooftops, crawling along walls. Their whispers grew louder. "Hunger, hunger, hunger!" Thomas raised his rifle, screaming, "Now or never!" He fired into the dark. A creature fell, but two more replaced it. The town roared with panic. Screams echoed, shadows spread. Jacob's breath came heavy, his lantern shook. He turned to the alien children. "If we feed you, what becomes of him? What becomes of us?" Their answer came like thunder inside every skull. "He will not die, he will not vanish. He will rise stronger. He will walk in night without fear. And those who stand with him will live." Samuel stepped forward, his face glowing faint in the children's light. "Father, let me." Jacob's hand trembled. His eyes filled with tears, but he let go. He let Samuel walk. The alien children surrounded him, their glow brighter, their hands lifted, their voices whispered together. Feed us." The townspeople dropped baskets of bread and milk in fear and hope. The alien children reached for the food, but they did not eat it alone. They pressed it into Samuel's hands, and when he touched it, it turned to light. The light spread across his body, brighter and brighter, until his skin burned like fire and his eyes glowed gold. The night creatures stopped in their tracks. Their growls turned to screams. They shrank back from the light. Hissing, tearing at the ground, Samuel stood taller, stronger, his small frame now filled with something beyond human. His voice echoed across the town. But it was not only his voice, it was human and alien together. "The night belongs to us now." He stepped forward, and the light from his body cut through the shadows like a blade. The creatures shrieked, their red eyes fading. Some turned to ash. Others fled into the forest. The townspeople watched with wide eyes, hope and terror mixed. Thomas dropped his rifle, his face pale. "What have you done, Jacob?" "He's not your son anymore." "He's one of them." But Jacob, with tears still in his eyes, whispered, "No, he's more than my son now. He's the bridge, he's the gift." The alien children knelt around Samuel. Their glow stronger, their voices quiet. "The first of you has joined. Now the night will obey. But more must come, more must change. Or the world will burn as you saw." The townspeople shivered. Some looked at Samuel with hope. Others with dread. They saw safety in his glow, but also the loss of what made him human. Samuel turned to them, his golden eyes calm, his voice gentle. "You don't have to fear the night anymore, but you must choose, feed them, and walk with me into the new dawn, or refuse, and be swallowed by the dark." The creatures had fled. The forest was silent again, but the bargain was not finished. It had only begun. The people stared at Samuel, torn between survival and freedom, between fear of the dark and fear of losing themselves. And Jacob, holding his lantern low, whispered the words that would haunt them forever. "The gift was never meant to save us. It was meant to change us." The night ended, but peace did not return. Because every human now knew, the next feeding would decide not only who lived, but what humanity would become.